Welcome, friends, to the latest installment of the Journey into Homelessness video series here on the Student of the Path YouTube channel. So I wanted to do a 10-month as a Samanera, as a novice monk video. I had planned to do a video earlier, or a couple of videos, but as life has it, this is all I could get up to, and so this video is going to be longer than usual, and I even have an outline to cover everything that I wanted to speak about. So we'll begin. The first thing I wanted to say is these past 10 months have been a time of adjusting to a new life, really. It's been interesting now being on quote-unquote the other side, now for most of my years as a Buddhist practitioner. I was a layperson, and now I'm a monastic, and that's led to some interesting experiences, that have taken me a while to getting used to. One of the first funny things I remember is normally when the monastics go and get their food, here the lay people, have their hands in anjali and stuff like that. And I can remember one of the first times as a monk, and I'm sitting there waiting, and Bhante Ji gets up, and here I go like this. It's just a lot of those little kind of things that I had to get used to, changing. And one of the biggest things was just the difference of how I'm treated. Once you put on one of these, it opens up a whole different world in that regard. The next day, my second day as a Samanera, was Katina, and I just have a memory of normally at Katina it's a big event. There's hundreds of people there. There's 20 some odd monks, and we all line up. And in the past, when I came for Vesaks and Katinas and stuff like that, I would take pictures. It's almost like a paparazzi line. As the monks go and get to eat, people take pictures of the monks as they're walking. And so I used to do that. This is the first time that I was on the opposite end of that. I wasn't taking pictures. I was the one having my picture taken. So it was kind of a little weird, a little different. And of course, the people bowing, that's another thing. As a Westerner, having people bow to you is a really weird and interesting feeling. You kind of don't know how to react or how to respond to that, but this is part of the Buddhist culture. One of the even before I was a Samanera, I was home visiting with family, and we were at a doctor for my father, and I was just in whites at the time. I was in Anagarika, and the doctor gave me a little bow, and my little sister looked at me and she says, "He's still my brother. He's still my brother." So that was the first time that one of my family members experienced with the respect that either even a soon-to-be monastic receives. And at the ordination, my sister came, and she saw even more of that, which it was an interesting experience for her and also for me. So one of the things in terms of adjusting to the monk's life that I wanted to talk about was wearing these robes. And there's a lot of things to talk about wearing the robes, but one of the things that really struck me over 10 months of wearing these robes is that one of the greatest lessons in impermanence for a monk are these robes. And I'll tell you what I mean. These robes don't stand still. They're always changing. They're unreliable. They're undependable. The meaning that you put your robe on one way, and then after a little bit of time, it goes another way. So this has been one of the biggest lessons in impermanence. especially in the beginning. I had so many robe malfunctions and all kinds of stuff. Robe just falling apart in front of people at a retreat and all these kind of things. And in the beginning, at first I was like a little mortified, and then I just remembered what I always do if I'm like was talking in public in the past and I messed up or anything like that. I just laughed at myself because it was funny, and laughing at myself, allowed other people to give a little giggle as well, and it made things funny. But now it's nothing. Now the robe falls apart in front of people. Okay, I've watched what all the other what the bhikkhus do, and I do that. It's not a big deal to just adjust the robe. But I can remember, like, as a layperson for years, being at home, watching like Ajahn Brahm on the YouTube or different monks, and they'll be talking, and all of a sudden the robe will be like, whoop, and you just see them going like this and adjusting, and then 5 minutes later it's like, whoop, and then they're just adjusting again and again and again. And I was like, what's going on with their robes? What's wrong with their robes? Well, now I know, because it's definitely an interesting lesson in impermanence. And so, let's see, I guess I'll talk about the respect. When you put on these robes, you gain this, this instant amount of respect and I would say admiration, really. But there's a reason for that, and it ties into the bowing, right? When people are bowing, and I remember hearing a monk say this years ago, and it stuck with me this whole time. When people are bowing to a monk, they're not bowing to an individual. They're bowing to the Sangha. They're bowing to what these robes and what this shaven head, although I have some hair on my head right now, what these symbols represent. They represent almost 3,000 years of the Dhamma, of bringing the Dhamma into the future. And when you think about it that way, and when I think about it that way, in the beginning when people were bowing to me, and I go, well, this is weird, like, what do I do? And traditionally what monastics do is when somebody bows to them, is they say Sukhihotu, which means may you be happy. It's just like giving them, the person metta, as they bow. And and for me to realize in the beginning, they're not bowing to me, they're bowing to what I represent. And indeed, it's an interesting experience, and a lot of, almost a mantle of responsibility. When I put on these robes, I realize, like, whatever I do, I am representing this brother and sisterhood that goes back almost 3,000 years. And it really kind of reiterated my feelings of that I would never want to do anything that would harm the image, or the how people view the Sangha, how people view monastics, because for me, all these years as a lay Buddhist practitioner, monasticism was something very important to me. It was something that I really respected and revered, and really used as good monks as a way, as an emulation of my practice, who to look towards, how to practice. So I keep all that stuff in mind now as myself, being somebody in robes as well. So fitting into the role, and that's another thing that's been interesting. In the Dhammapada, and also multiple times in the suttas, the Buddha talks about a bowl, a robe, and a shaved head do not a bhikkhu make. And I understand that now 100%. It took me a long time. It took me a couple months to really kind of train myself and to really recognize that, yes, I am a monastic. I'm not a bhikkhu yet. I'm a novice monk, but I'm still a monastic. And so, one of the things that I had to learn for my ordination is the Dasadhamma. And this is essentially the Buddha saying there are these 10 things that one should remember when you go forth, when you become a monk. And of course, one of those is that you have entered into a new mode of life. And so for me, it took me a while to adjust to that. Okay, yes, I am monastic. This is a new mode of life. There are certain expectations that I need to adhere to and to follow now, and I need to let some things go. So it was a bit of an adjustment to do that. And those of you who follow the Tumblr blog, if you remember my last seclusion, one of the last things I wrote about in my journal about that last seclusion was that I felt like I went into that seclusion a guy in robes and came out of it a monk. And it's still that I do still feel that way. That it took me a couple months to really adjust and to fit into the role, and to really really pound it into my head like, wow, yeah, I am a monk, and all the benefits and the responsibilities that go with that. So I guess that's pretty much it for all the little things. Life in many ways has not been that different between here at Bhavana. I mean, between being a layperson and being a monastic. Really, we're still doing work. I still handle all the heating stuff at the monastery, lugging wood and chopping wood and making sure all the heating stuff works and all that. We're still doing everything that we do normally. I guess one of the benefits is that if there's enough lay people, I don't have to do as much dishes, but still every day in the morning I'm doing dishes. So it's really not that much different. Still following the same schedule. It's not that much different as a layperson. I have different priorities now. I'm really intensifying my learning of Pali and memorizing suttas and all that kind of stuff. So that's all part of it. But really, in terms of my daily life, the schedule and what I do here at Bhavana has not been that much different. One thing that did surprise me though was, I had been a monk not even 2 weeks, and Bhante Ji is like, I want you to do a talk and a Q&A at the Thanksgiving retreat. And I said, what? And since then it's turned out that the way here at Bhavana this whole year, the junior monastics have been part of the retreats. We've all had a day of doing a Dhamma talk and doing a Q&A. And that's something that really kind of came to me as a big surprise, because normally people don't do any kind of speaking until they've been a bhikkhu for a couple years, and here I am as Samanera, not even a month, and I'm helping out at retreats. So that was a bit of a surprise. I kind of felt like, I was thinking to myself, wow, I'm okay, for a couple years I don't have to worry about giving a talk, I don't have to do anything, I'm just gonna chill and learn at my own pace and all this. And then all of a sudden, no, you're doing a talk at every retreat. And so what does that do, right? I had given Dhamma talks on Second Life and stuff, and as a layperson, but once it's almost like the big leagues now. All of a sudden, look, you have to talk at a retreat at Bhavana Society, a place where I had gone for retreats for years. It was, I wasn't necessarily nervous, but I felt a lot of responsibility. It's like I felt like at first I felt very inadequate, but then I realized, what, I can only just as I've always done. I'll help people how I can help them, and if it's something that goes above my knowledge, I'll say I don't know. And so that's what I've been okay with doing, that Q&As, whatever. I help people learn what I can teach them, and if it's above what I can help them with, then I follow the what do they call it, the Hippocratic Oath. If you can't help, at least do no harm. So that helped me with my a little anxiety about the responsibility of teaching the Dhamma. It's also spurred in me an extra desire to really put forth more effort in learning the suttas and really not only developing a personal understanding of the various aspects of Buddhist, like dependent origination, etc., but really kind of learning how to teach them in the best way as well, and knowing all the different aspects of it. So that's been a major focus for me as well. And now that I have been, regularly, helping out and doing talks and Q&As and retreats. And, at first I also felt very I loved coming to Bhavana and listening to Bhante Silananda, people who have been monks for a long, long time. And at first I thought, well, this is kind of, it's, the junior monks, okay, they have to learn, so I understand, but it's just not quite the same. But I really, I eat my own hat in terms of this, because people have loved it. People on the evaluations just say that, they're happy that they get to hear our different perspectives and they get to learn from us. And I think they feel like we're a little bit more human as opposed to Bhante Ji, but they don't know Bhante Ji. Bhante Ji is one of the most down-to-earth, humble human persons I've ever met, for somebody who's so well known. I guess they feel like, we're more at their level, per se. I don't know. But, so yeah, that's, been my experience in doing all the retreats and the talks and all that. And I guess, as I move towards closing this video, I want to say that there's been no regrets. When I said before I left, for Bhavana, that, I was at the point where I don't know 100% if this is for me, or if I'll do this for life. But if I don't do this, I know I'll regret it. And at this point, I still can't say. I don't know how life will turn out. I could, right now, I don't want to do anything else. 10 years down the road, who knows? Maybe my mind will change and I'll disrobe. I don't know. But for right now, all I can say is that, in the beginning, there might have been some doubts in the back of my mind as to me doing this. But over time, those doubts have basically been eroded down to zero, to nothing. I've developed so much more a confidence that I did the right decision. I've developed so much more feeling of that this is who I'm meant to be. I was born to do this. And for right now, I wouldn't want to do anything else. Those of you who followed my path, every once in a while I would ask, is this something I really wanted to do? What if I had the best lay life compared to a monastic life? Would I want to do this? Would I want, really kind of giving myself questions and really observing and examining what I really want to do. And I still do that to this day. I haven't stopped that. I don't do it as much, but when I do, I wouldn't want to do anything else. There's not even in the hardest times here, I wouldn't want to go back to lay life, at this point. I don't know. Who knows what the future holds? But, it's just the conviction and the lack of doubt and just the joy of being in this life and the help that I've been able to give to others, even just from minor things. People email me and, I try not to give too much advice, because really I don't necessarily think that monks should be like advice columnists, but people ask monks for advice. And I was like, Ajahn Brahm made the joke once. I was watching him talking. He says, I'm a monk. Why do you ask me about marriage? And all these kind of things. But, if my personal life experience and my understanding of Dhamma can help, I'm always willing to help those that I can. So, moving forward, I'm looking forward to my Upasampada, my higher ordination on October 22nd, the Katina weekend on that Saturday. I'm not a bhikkhu yet, and for most people, if you're not really in if you don't know about Buddhism or monasticism, it doesn't. I look like a monk. I'm sitting here looking like a monk, but in my mind, I'm not a bhikkhu. I'm a Samanera. And my goal, my drive, my desire has been to become a bhikkhu. And it's almost there. 3 more months. I'm practicing the ordination procedure, and for me to, I've a couple times since I've become a Samanera, I've been able to sit in groups of monks, like at different events, sitting with like 20 monks, and I just look around and I think, wow, like this is, like, it feels like home. It feels like these are my brothers, even and sisters as well. These are like long lost brothers and sisters. Being a part of this community, this sangha, this unbroken line of brothers and sisters that goes back almost 3,000 years, is just an amazing feeling. I just, lots of kind of like deja vu feelings. Almost like I've been there before. Probably have, who knows? But there's just an amazing feeling, and for me to almost be there, to really being a full part of that community, is an exciting time. I'm looking forward to being a bhikkhu. I'm looking forward to being a Sakyan son, and all of the the joys and sorrows and responsibilities that come with that hard path. And so okay, I guess that's probably pretty much it for now. I just wanted to I'll talk a little bit about the Student of the Path YouTube channel and the Tumblr blog and all that before I end up. I've gone on a little bit of a sabbatical on my Tumblr blog. I have stopped posting on it, and I don't know how long that's going to last, but I've come to find that I'm being visited by friends here out in the woods with all the gnats and the bugs and stuff. But anyway, I've come to find that it was a lot of doing, and my mind lately has been turning inward. And my practice has shown me that really, you don't attain like high deep states of meditation. You don't get these states of meditation. You set the ground, the conditions. You set the conditions for their arrival, and I've been doing that gradually to the point where my mind is really starting to move inwards, and I'm trying to lessen the doings that I do, and focus more on my practice, to allow myself to set the groundwork. When I'm sitting down and meditating, I'm not worried about, well, what am I going to do for this blog, or what am I going to do for this? I should do this Dhamma graphic and this. Just doing less. I love doing the blog, and I love doing the blog. I love doing all this stuff that's beneficial to Buddhist practitioners, and it's been an overwhelming success. That so many people have told me how much benefit the blog has done for them. And even Bhante G recently just told me how much he appreciated all of the Dhamma work that I do online, which really meant more to me than thousands and thousands of people saying, oh, your blog is great, because this is somebody who, a senior monastic who is understanding what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I still do feel like the online is really in many ways the future of Dhamma. So I'm not going anywhere online, but for now, there's going to be times where I'm just going to need to take a break and go inwards, and that's what I'm doing now. So of course, my name is changing also to Jayasara, and so I'm probably gonna make a new page with a name and a new email and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I might start up the Tumblr blog again after my ordination, or it might take longer, I don't know. But I think that I got through everything I wanted to get through on my list, and I don't think there's anything else. I have a hunch actually to be doing some more shorter videos in the future. So I might do a little bit more of this in the future. Might not be up here in the woods. We'll see. You know, even though I'm trying to lessen my doings, I still have the doings. You know, I still like, oh, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that. And for the most part, I'm, you know, trying to let that stuff go. But I don't know. So friends, until next time, Suki Hotu, may you be happy.